Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
I'm Victoria Cash. Thanks for calling the Lucky Land Hotline. If you feel like you do the same thing every day, press 1. If you're ready to have some serious fun for the chance to redeem some serious prizes, press 2. We heard you loud and clear. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com right now and play over 100 social casino-style games for free. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
In the spirit of reconciliation, the Theatre Thoughts podcast acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all traditional custodians of the land on which our episodes are recorded.
But it was also a lot of me trying to pursue Ryan because Ryan would avoid me in the hallways.
Oh, okay.
He was so nervous.
Yeah.
And then, one day I was walking out the back and he's like, I need to ask you a question. And I was like, okay. And I'm waiting and he's like, message me. I was like,
okay.
Like in essence, the weirdest thing a guy could do to you. Like, hey, I need to talk to you. It's like, oh, cool. What do you want to talk about? Message me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had to make a quick exit stage right. Do you know what I mean?
Welcome back to a new episode of the Theatre Thoughts podcast, hosted by myself, Justin Clark, and featuring an array of Australia's best and brightest in the theatre industry and beyond. You can get full access to the podcast by signing up to our monthly email and joining the Theatre Thoughts Patreon community for as little as $3 a month. All the details can be found by heading over to our Instagram account at TheatreThoughtsAUS or our official podcast Instagram at TTPod_official. Let us know what you think of this episode by giving us a rating wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of the Theatre Thoughts podcast. I'm in a new studio today. I've gone out to do a collab with two amazing podcasters and artists who I've just recently fallen in love with. They both run the Tragic Thespians podcast, which is an insight into jobs that make up the entertainment industry. They're both performers as well as working in the entertainment industry. Both of them came from the Academy of Film, Theatre and Television. Caterina and Ryan. Ryan, who you would have seen in Superwog for 4 seconds, which I'm so excited about. Caterina Imbro and Ryan Peters. Thank you so much for having me in studio.
Oh, good. Thank you for having us on your podcast.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah. I love coming out of the studio and going into like a new area.
Yeah.
And you'll probably hear me eat this cookie because it's very nice. Thank you for giving me the cookies.
Subway, man, they never fall short of their cookies. Yeah. Never. I was actually thinking about it, when we had you on with our episode just before, I was like, oh man, it would be a great idea for us to do one with you in your studio, wherever it is that you record it. Yeah. And then I immediately started thinking about it and I was like, oh, but then that meant we'd be guests. I've never done that before. Do you know what I mean? So then it became a thing of like, I was like, how do I present as a guest? Like what do I do now? Because usually we ask questions and it's kind of very cool and very whatever. But how did you feel weird doing our episode? Were you kind of like...
Well, it wasn't like my first time because I went on my friend's podcast, Rachel. She's got a podcast called Don't Be So Dramatic.
Okay. Yeah.
And so she had me on there probably about 6-8 months ago or something. Right. And being on that was weird.
Yeah,
being
right.
a guest. So I feel like when I did your episode, I was a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. You eased into it a little bit more.
You warmed up.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely. So it was weird though being a guest because, I don't often talk about myself a lot. And so I just like, this is me. This is what I do.
Aside from in the mirror at home when you're accepting your speech.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
your
exactly.
Oscar.
I do have a little Academy Award from, Madame Two Swords that I bought. So.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay, cool. With your name engraved on it. Like, thank you so much.
It's like little old me when I wanted to be a movie star.
Aww.
Yeah, but thank you so much for letting me have you guys on, which is awesome.
Oh, good. This is really
Our
cool
pleasure.
experience.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't-
did you want to tell me about Tragic Thespians? Because I've listened to a few episodes of yours, and I was like, you guys are great. Like, such good chemistry, and you talk to like a lot of similar guests to me as well. So it's really interesting as I've developed podcasting to see everyone's different things. Because obviously there is a few of us who do podcasts, but everyone is very different in how they approach.
Sure.
So can you kind of give us a bit of an idea of how you approach your guests?
Yeah, so it's really as simple. I think I should take this question because Ryan, I like to call him the personality hire.
I have a voice. No, that's very true. I am very much a personality hire. I really try to like some of the stuff Kat does. I'm like, man, I really like because it ties in with your question, like how we approach guests and stuff. It helps for me to be doing some of that stuff, and I swear to God, I try so hard.
Yeah.
But fucking ADHD, man. That's what I chalk it up to. Kat gets a little bit mad when I say that.
Yeah.
Because she's like, it's not an excuse. And I'm like, no, I know it's not, but it just, it's like a neurological, my brain's just weird. And I'm like, yeah. So like, I try to do it, but like, I can barely sit still. Like, my brain barely focuses. It's off on tangents 20% of the time. I mean, you're on our episode, you know. Like,
Yeah. I think it's great, though.
weird.
It makes for a good episode.
Yeah. Well,
It does. It really, really does.
without me, you're nothing.
Just making me sound awful.
No, you're not awful. It's
Terrible.
just a thing. Yeah,
Awful and ableist.
She's Blackbeard. Ew, yucky.
So
So yeah, you answer the question.
So basically, it's really, when we first started, it was as simple as trying to get all our friends on that were in productions, being like, please come on. We
Yeah.
really want to start this. And a lot of people will either be, that's so great, because when we started back in 2018, podcasts weren't really a thing here. They were starting off. And I was very inspired by a podcast called The Lady Gang in America, where it was already three established, a journalist, a fashion person, and an actress.
Becca Tobin was the actress.
Yeah,
from
Becca,
Glee.
who was in Glee.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, which was my guilty pleasure show.
Oh, sorry, same. Same me.
And
then I
really-
kind of patted off at one stage. I was like, all right, now it's enough.
Yeah. Well, I stuck all the way through.
Oh my God, bless you.
I did what no one else could.
Well, Will Schuster deserves to be in jail. That's all
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say.
Absolutely. So I was heavily inspired by that podcast, just the idea of like interviewing your friends who are in shows. And because I was just starting in the industry, so I was like, what a great way to get my name and other people's names out there, because it was a real big hustle. It was easy, like easier than it was back, like, in the 2000s to get work as an actor, because we did have the rise of social media, but it wasn't as easy as it is today,
Right,
where you can
yeah.
do something on TikTok and a PR agency will pick that up and be like, get you on a few premieres. So I did it originally for Ryan and I, struggling actors back in the day, just trying to get our names out there. And we were like, okay, we can do this for our friends as well. So we just started getting them on. They'll either say, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Or they'll say,
Exactly where you can go.
Yeah.
that's right. And because actors, they do not shy away from how they feel.
Yeah.
What? That'd be ridiculous.
So we got the boot many, many times. But a lot of it was just me going, how great would it be if I could grab this person on and just message them on Instagram. And then it did lead into a few publicists and managers, similar to like what you do. Not so many managers, because because our podcast is more casual, as yours is as well. We like having, I like to describe a coffee conversation.
Yeah.
Well, the biscuits or the cookies really.
That's
help.
right.
Yeah, that's for sure. I might
They're a
have to-
big seller
yeah.
with our guests.
We like to get everyone comfortable because I always encourage going on tangents, because people, I I've said it a million times and I'll say it a million times more, people are passionate with what you're passionate about. And when performers love to get passionate about what they're promoting, people love to watch and they can't wait. And they're the ones that do the best. And
I will say too on that, if people love what you're passionate about, but it goes the extra mile if they see that you really enjoy yourself, because then they enjoy themselves. Because they enjoy watching you kind of like fucking just having fun. Like, do you know what I mean? Like right now, like you're in your element because you're interviewing us and this is great. And it's cool to see you kind of like to asking questions and doing this kind of stuff. Yeah. It's cool. And we are enjoying it because you enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? It's like infectious energy gets shared around the room. Definitely. And then it'll either build or like plateau or whatever. Yeah. So I feel like enjoyment is massive. And all the guests that we've had on have never been like, oh yes, and thank you, and like it's never that. It's kind of like I call it. I like to think of it like a pants off Friday. Like let's just fucking relax, and just chill out, kind of thing.
You got the deskies. I mean,
right. Well, no one will see because we don't go waist down, so we're safe.
None of us are wearing
in your
pants.
mind. I have no pants.
Yeah. That's right. But absolutely, that's so. We try to make it as casual as possible. There are, of course, the performers that are a bit more media trained.
Yeah, definitely, and they have to like, especially when we're on for a show. It's like they can't go off tangent because they have to stay on brand.
Exactly. So those ones I did find that I would struggle originally if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
But if you're prepared and you understand, of course, if you're in the industry, you understand a bit more that what people can and can't say.
Yeah.
So so we just kind of go, and there have been a few where I've had to contact where the guest has. The potential guest has been keen, but their manager was like, not a good
That
step.
happened to me when I wanted to really interview Chloe Zule after I saw her in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I got in contact with her and she was really keen to come on. I was like, fuck yeah, awesome. Thanks, Chloe. And then she went and asked like her producers and everyone over there and they said no. Because I assume Hamilton and you know, they don't find it viable or whatever. So I was like, that was the first time I was like, oh, okay. Right. Interesting.
There's a lot of
like,
that.
oh, there's a team that has to deal with this and they can say yes or no. It's weird because this isn't like we don't have a corporate side to us. I imagine you don't either.
No,
like it's just kind of like, let's talk, man.
Yeah.
But then you go like, hey,
online.
do you want to come on? And people are like, oh, I actually have to go through my PR team and then there's blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh shit, there's like a whole chain
of
and you people
don't think
that need
about
to
it.
say yes. Yeah.
I think as well because we do a lot of independent theatre. So it's so much easier because there is no like overhead. But when you hit the big shows like Mamma Mia and I've been speaking to the Disney, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why I was going to say something else. Beauty and the Beast team, and I know Disney itself is such a machine that I have no idea how that's going to go about. You know, because I'm in talks like trying to get Belle and the Beast on. To have a chat with them. But who knows?
That's right.
Big ones.
Absolutely, that's absolutely right. That's what was I going to say? Yeah, so like even like for me, because my day job is TV, I can't mention too many things that
of course
conflict with that.
Yeah, I don't often talk about my day job just because that's like a conflicting thing in itself.
That's right, and it's so but it's funny because we've had people from Cursed Child over in Melbourne.
Oh, did you? Awesome.
But then
we were so excited to get them on, and I've been.
Who'd you talk to?
Well, that's the thing. Their managers were like.
Interesting.
So we were like, I was super excited just as a fan of the show. Like theatrically, how good it is and everything. We've seen it about like 4 or 5 times.
I was like, I only saw it recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, what did you think?
Good.
I loved it.
It was great, right?
So
I still think the script is fan fiction.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
It's not one to sit down and read. You have to go and watch it.
Exactly. It's really good production value. And,
well, actually, and because sorry to interrupt. Because you have to watch it to take in how incredible it is, the dementals, the music itself, like the story and how it weaves through. There's a lot of stuff with time. Like it's great. The reason I wanted to get this particular actor or actress on was because I was like, man, it feels like you've broken a mold for theatre,
right? Okay,
because I haven't seen a show that has been that technologically intense.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was like, it was more a thing of like, fuck, like not reveal your secrets, but a thing of like, without saying anything, how did this come about?
Yeah.
Because this would have needed funding in and
God,
out of the
yeah.
wazoo just to make it work.
Well, I mean, the name itself, they could throw as much money at us as they could afford.
People would just be like, money. And
Yeah.
they'd be like, I dropped some, but that's fine.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
get
yeah.
more.
We got more.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that fascinated me the most was, first of all, how popular Harry Potter still is. Because I went there and there's tons of kids there. They're still dressing up and they're all lined up to get their merch and their wands. I was like, well, that's their moneymaker in itself. It doesn't matter if they sell the show.
Yeah.
And that fascinated me, first of all. And then obviously how much merch was there was the second thing. I was like, of course. But the show production itself is just
amazing.
It's mind-boggling.
It really, really is. So I was disappointed that we couldn't get that guest on.
Things might change because they're in the end of their run now. Maybe they might be cooler with it. Like,
well, I was very lucky to talk to Gillian Cosgrove about her show. Actually Good, which is at Melbourne. And that
great.
production. So we had a quick chat about Harry Potter while she was on because she'd finished. And well, we didn't go into it in like too much depth. But she's incredible.
Wow. Amazing.
That would have been such a
super
cool
talent.
That's so good.
Far out.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to ask was about you two, because we were talking before you both met in your uni degree.
Yes.
So could you tell me about that lovely moment and how it all blossomed from there?
This is my favorite
You
story.
love telling. I was just going to say, Kat loves telling a story, so you
Excellent.
tell it.
Because it speaks on behalf of how problematic this industry can be.
Oh, okay.
We met at a sexual assault meeting.
By the way, this story came up when we got married too.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I clarified then, and I'm going to clarify now.
Yeah.
I did not sexually assault someone.
Okay.
The meeting was in general about the dangers of sexual assault in our industry.
Oh, okay.
Like doggy ear this page because it's important. This is how you know if someone like, do you know what I mean? It was that kind of stuff. When we said it at our wedding, Kat was like, I met Ryan in a sexual assault meeting, and it sounded as if like, well, naughty boy Ryan, and now we're married. And I was like, no, because this is
Let's backtrack
that's
a bit.
big. That's a big like. Let's just let's slow down a second. I didn't do anything.
No, but it was a meeting about how problematic people in the industry are and everything that was happening at the time. This was just before the Me Too movement as well.
Okay.
So it hasn't even happened yet.
Changed.
This massive Hollywood upheaval, which was everywhere upheaval, really. Which is fucking great.
That's right. And it was like, so there was definitely, but it was on the rise of it. So people in the industry knew there was going to be a downfall.
Yeah.
But at that point, people were kind of like, we're still getting away with it. So
Yeah.
we just kept doing it.
You got to wonder what was going through the minds of some of the people when all that came out. They go, fuck.
Like, it's not an isolated incident. It's not like America. Why would you do that to your actors and
worst kept
actresses?
secret in Hollywood as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
everyone
absolutely.
knew.
Everyone knew.
People were like, "Hey, if you ever do a meeting with so and so, don't let them touch you." Kind of thing. Like, and they're like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
Like, shake hand, no.
Nope.
Pat on the back, no.
Yeah.
Anything, don't let them do
Crazy.
it.
And
so people just knew it. It was just a warning.
Yeah.
It was wild.
And that's the thing, because we so we're having this meeting.
Yes. And go.
And it was the person who hosted it was problematic in themselves, but so I thought it was a bit ironic. I was like, you shouldn't be the one saying this. But Ryan just stood up and was like, do not touch anyone, end of story. and I was
Perfect.
like, that man, I'm gonna marry that man right there.
Aww.
So then we walked out, and I go to introduce Ryan and introduce myself to Ryan, and I'm like, I really loved what you had to say, because he was the only one with common sense in a room of how many people, and I was like, that's like, I just like the way you're thinking, you're very good. And then Ryan couldn't find any words and started stuttering.
Yeah, I was like,
Let's recreate it. I was like, hi, I'm Caterina. What you said was really great.
Limp wrist as well.
I was like, I don't know how to handshake.
And then
I was just shy. I was just like, I was just shy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, certain things you're kind of like, no, this is it. And then other things you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And like, Kat was like, man, that was really cool. And I was like, I think, you know what? Honestly, I think when you said that, I was like, oh, but like, I'm just being like regular old person, like right? Like
sense,
I don't. This
right?
doesn't need like a it was not like it was nice that Kat introduced us. Someone said thank you so much, blah, blah, whatever. Because then I knew who Kat was, and now she's my wife, and that's the best part of my life, right?
Yeah.
But it was just a thing of like, oh, there's no like, I don't need to be congratulated for that, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that surely. And then
Yeah.
that it was funny because like now thinking back on it, I'm like, what an indictment on our industry. Honestly, that Kat was like, oh, cool, you said that, congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow, what a
Great
thinker
job.
between the ears on this one. And I was just like, really? I don't know, for real? Like, it was just So I think it was more just like I was like taken a bit off guard because I was like, first off, that's just what normal people do. Like, not normal, but like people should be doing that, right?
Yeah,
Like that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
then we were friends, and then we had an interest to be friends with each other.
Okay.
Because we were like, I feel like that's how relationships should start, right?
Yeah, that's
like
something
if you have
that's
a,
important for me, I think.
yeah, right. You have to have like a genuine interest in the person. You can't look and be like, damn, mama, like, because then it's just like, well, hold
I think
on.
that's why I hate like Hinge and all the dating apps.
Yeah.
You got to be like, I'm a smooth talker.
Yeah.
Here's my pickup line. Let's meet for coffee.
My favorite pickup line is, "Do you want to fuck?" Like don't. You shouldn't have a pickup line. Just talk to a person and find some common ground that's genuinely interesting. But then, we kind of like, we were friends, and then we were kind of like, and then I was like, hey, I want to ask you a question, actually. Are you, I can't remember what the question was. It wasn't like, do you want to go out? I think it was just like, man, I love hanging, like, I really like hanging out with you. Can we, like, I think I was just like genuinely interested in her as a person.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of like, let's date was like, not the furthest thing from my mind, but I was like, I'm curious to ask this, but I was like, I asked that question and then went, no, I can't, I want to be friends and stuff, you know, like, because we're friends and I like being her friend. But then we started dating, and then we were just like, oh, it's just friends, but a little bit more intense friends, like, because we hug a lot and stuff now, and we don't have to be like, hey, oops, sorry, and hey, there's none of that. It's just like, hey, and then like a big hug kind of thing.
That's nice.
So then it just kind of like elevated our relationship a little bit.
Yeah.
To like, I know, I feel like that's really cool when that happens.
But it was also a lot of me trying to pursue Ryan because Ryan would avoid me in the hallways.
Oh,
because
okay.
He was so nervous.
Yeah.
And then, one day I was walking out the back and he's like, I need to ask you a question. And I was like, okay. And I'm waiting and he's like, message me. I was like,
I was like,
okay.
Like in essence, the weirdest thing a
message
guy
me.
could do to you, like, hey, I need to talk to you. It's like, oh, cool. What do you want to talk about? Message me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had to make a quick exit stage right. Do you know what I mean? Like, in essence, that is the weirdest thing a guy could say and do to you. So, like, when we talked later, I was like, oh my God, this is the fucking most awkward thing for her to live through that experience.
Yeah.
And somehow I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's go on this date, I guess.
Then we went to Pancakes on the Rocks.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. We went to Spanish tapas. That was a quick quiz for our relationship, and guess who failed? Me.
Look, you did make a quick turnaround though.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I know.
That was
literally
very good.
As soon as I said Pancakes on the Rocks, I was like,
nope.
I was like, no. And this is where we actually went. And what a funny joke Ryan just told, ladies and gentlemen.
He took someone else to Pancakes.
But we did go to Pancakes on the Rocks.
Eventually, at
Yeah,
one stage.
eventually. And now
Because we
it's
have to.
demolished.
Yeah, now it's demolished. This is very sad.
Very sad story.
Like our relationship.
like our relationship. Goodbye.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Excellent. Well, I know as well you're both actors and you're both in the industry itself. So I guess one of the things I wanted to ask is there any productions that you have been in that have stood out to you in your mind that's been like, you know, prevalent or really important to you?
Well, mine would be the first like proper professional play I did, which was at Belvoir downstairs. It was Love and Information.
Oh yeah,
That's a great show.
And it was wild. It was great because it was the first time where I was like, wow, I'm an actor.
Yeah.
And I was sweating by the end of the show because it was, for those that don't know about Love and Information, it's multiple characters and it's just dialogue, and it's not like characters, it's just dialogue, but it's almost like a series of like short, like two-handers almost, but it's just so beautiful. So and you can like change the script around, but only to a certain extent. That's what's like listed at the very front of the page, and you can kind of create your own stories with it, which is amazing. It's like a blank canvas for creatives.
Yeah.
And it was great because we had this big light up board that would like change into like a chessboard almost, and then you could make anything. So it was like something so simple as just a light up floor, and it could turn into a lab, into an airport, into a house, into anything.
Wow.
And it was just a lot of
It was great.
it was fantastic, and it was just so good. Just my first day like there backstage, and then we got to like write our company down on the door, and it was just so nice, like every night seeing that and being like, oh my god, I'm immortalized.
Yeah.
They've since painted over it.
Oh, no. So many people did that though. There were so many.
It was so good.
Nice.
But it was nice to see that and to go, wow, this is amazing. This is something I can share for everyone else. And it's a very intimate space, so you can feel what the audience feels.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
I
beautiful.
like that space.
Yeah,
Really
it
nice.
is a very
It's
good space.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it's because I had seen Ryan perform there only like probably a year before that. I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. I get to perform in the same stage as Ryan. And it was just a full circle because that's where I started, like, you know, naturally, because I went to college just around the corner. I was going to Belvoir quite often, and I was like, how amazing would it be if I could just perform here?
Yeah.
And
As art students do, you kind of idolize the place that you go to the most.
Yeah.
absolutely. So it was just so beautiful, and the company at the time I did get along with really well, which helps. You know, got to have chemistry, and although you may never speak to those people again after, or like not as often, it's important for the moment.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
so it was really beautiful, and all the conflict that did happen with the cast, at least they found a way to resolve it for showtime, which is fantastic. And it was amazing, but it also was a great production because it also taught me a lot about, well, shit happens, because we did have a guest who was heckling during the performance, and the show had to stop.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that was on the night that I went to. That was wild.
You were right next to them.
I was actually right next to them. They just had like too much to drink, and then someone was talking on the stage, and they were doing a thing, and she was like, why don't, now you talk now. And she was like, it was like she was directing the thing, and was all the playwright / director, and it was like, motherfucker, this is rhetorical. Just shut up and listen. Like, and I feel like your director, who was great,
Luke Rogers,
I feel like him and I kind of got on a little bit better after this experience because she was doing whatever, and I was like, can you shut the fuck up?
Jesus.
And then Luke stepped on stage and was like, sorry, hold there for a sec, and then walked over and was like, you have to leave if you're not going to be quiet. And then she was like, yeah, but you know, and I was like, no, can you fucking leave? So then Luke, I didn't escort them out, but Luke and I were kind of like, hey, leave now, please. This is a show. You need to shut up.
Fuck.
So then they
That's
left.
ridiculous.
And then he was like, sorry, cool. Can we go back to the beginning of that scene? Thank you very much. Actors, just back to your first positions, please.
How professional.
Went back, and then, oh man, super
So
fucking
good.
respectful.
Yeah.
Like,
It was
I already
great.
liked Luke at that point, but then my professional respect for him went through the roof because
That's
I was
good.
like, fuck, what a way to handle that
Yeah,
situation.
definitely.
So
That's great.
Because they had like 2 glasses of wine in the theater, but they were already drunk, so they must have had about 3 or 4 outside.
Yeah.
And wine drunk is something
Great way to
else.
handle it, man. And
Yeah.
a drunk actor taking part in a show is like an actor's worst nightmare and best dream. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if a drunk actor was to come up and be like, yeah, and then you do this. Actors are like okay enough that they can like improv their way through that and go, okay, now go fucking sit down and then like deal with it. And then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, this is a show, man.
On the West End where that's happening at the moment.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so like when people
I've seen some
when
stuff,
people are going to see like Wicked and The Bodyguard and things like that, these audience members are singing along and screaming and shouting like it's some sort of karaoke night. And like shows have had to be stopped because people are just so rowdy at the moment. And I don't know what's gone on in the West End theaters, but they're all just like, oh, of course I'm going to sing Defying Gravity. It's like, how about you let the person who's trained who can actually sing Defying
They're trained
Gravity.
to do it.
Exactly.
You're drunk and have a complex. Be quiet.
Exactly.
So annoying.
Crazy.
And that's like, but because it wasn't my scene yet, so I was backstage getting ready. And then because we had the microphone at the back, and we just hear, no, stop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh?
This wasn't in rehearsal.
I was like, what just happened? And all of us just look at each other. We're like, okay. All right, so this is happening.
Crazy.
And then just went on with the show. The show must go on.
You guys handled
on.
it great too.
Thank
The
you.
two actors on stage, can't remember who they were great. They handled it really well.
That's great.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. So that was definitely my most memorable one, just because of the heckler.
Yeah.
But other than that, like
It's always an odd experience for an actor to have a heckler. Like that's something that like you imagine that at a comedy show.
Yeah,
Like someone goes, oh, hey, shut up, and then do you know what I mean? Like
But in a theatre crowd.
in a theater crowd?
Nah.
Shit, man.
I saw that actually once when I went to see The Play That Goes Wrong.
Oh my
really?
goodness.
My favorite play.
Amazing.
Love
Shit,
it.
dude.
And I love Mischief Theatre. I love everything about them.
Yeah.
And it was a young boy next to me. And I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a part in the show which is on purpose.
Yeah.
They put this ledger that's very important to the plot underneath it. And it's meant to be, it's a farce.
Yeah.
So, it's silly as it is. And the guy comes out and he's sitting there, he goes, oh, a ledger. And he's like trying to find this ledger, but it's under the chair, and he's like meant to pretend he doesn't know that it's there, even though like everyone knows it's there. And he's going, a ledger, and then this kid next to me goes, it's under this chair.
Oh,
and then he goes,
and that was all planned?
no.
Oh, what?
But apparently it happens a lot, because I also saw them do the same show on Broadway, and audiences did the same. So I think it's like they're baiting the audience to say it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a ledger.
Yeah, then whenever they do it, he stops and he's like, I know it's there. It's not TV. I can hear you. And so he breaks character and does it, and then he builds up to and goes, a ledger. And then the audience loses it. But I thought it was the first time I'd experienced a heckler in the audience. So I was sitting next to this kid thinking like, can these parents shut their fucking kid up? This is a show. So I was like, it was crazy. But I love that show. I love it so much.
That's
That's
good.
amazing.
I love that. I would love to be a part of an experience like that.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, definitely.
I hear too that show is choreographed like
to a T.
To a T.
Yeah.
And it's all like it's like movement coaches and fight choreography.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Because it has to be. It's not just
Yeah.
a show where like I'll kick the door open and then you go like
No.
this and
No,
then
no,
it
no.
smacks and then you go, oh my head.
Yeah.
Like it's a full
Because
thing.
there's fire involved,
Yeah.
like things collapse, things fall down and hit you on the head.
Yeah.
There's like so much, but it is so well done,
Yeah.
and I love it. I love it so much.
I wish they'd bring it. Are they going to bring
They
it to
did
Australia
bring
at some
it.
point?
It was like
Oh,
years
we-
ago.
Okay.
They brought Peter Pan Goes Wrong, which is on Broadway at the moment.
Right.
Yes.
That's what's been all over my
Yeah,
TikTok.
Neil Patrick Harris is in it.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
the
really?
narrator. Yeah.
That's
How
cool.
funny.
Which would be great.
That would be so
was
cool.
Here. Who was in it? Jay Lagaya was in it. Here, I remember seeing that. Yeah, it was good fun.
It was
Whoa.
on during college, when we were in college.
There you go.
Yeah. What was your memorable play?
Oh yes, your memorable show.
It's not all about me.
No.
I mean, it could be.
I mean, yeah, could be.
It
I
is.
could exit.
Yeah, stage left.
And just, yeah. I'll answer this in two parts, actually.
Ooh.
First one would be the show that I did at Riverside at Parramatta. That was a ridiculous show because... Not ridiculous. It was a great show. The whole... The word's escaping me. But, like, the whole thing of that show was that it was a ridiculously... adult show to be a part of, if that makes sense. Not in the sense that like we talk about sex, just in the sense that like, oh my god, there are all these actors and the directors and the directors are so much like they've done so much. One of them is like is in charge of the actors, is the head teacher at the actor studio in America.
Oh wow!
One of them does the Olympic thing, like choreographs the Olympic.
He did
the opening
ceremony for that. He was also back in the day the artistic director of STC.
Wow. Okay.
The other actors that were on stage, one of them had a series that was airing on the Disney Channel.
Okay.
One of them is now blowing up in America because he's done like a couple of self-written short films and works and stuff that have gone really big. Like,
which I'm going to plug, we've had on our episode, which was Alex.
Yeah.
He was in Macro Mermaids. We also had Jennifer Soldatic, who was she co-director?
She was, her and
Wayne Harrison.
Her and Wayne Harrison directed it together. Wayne Harrison was artistic director of SEC in his time.
No way.
And did the Olympic thing.
But you also
Jennifer Soldatic, can I just say, sorry, I am so in love with Jennifer Soldatic.
Yeah.
As a director, she's phenomenal. And I love working with her. And if I had that one experience, it was a great experience. And I'm looking for opportunities to try to work with her again because I just fell in love with
She's so
working with her.
good.
She's great.
But you also you were alongside Caroline Brazier.
Oh yeah, Caroline Brazier from
Who's in
Rake.
Rake.
And
Oh,
who was
okay,
done
yeah.
Dinner
I
at
am
the
Rake.
Opera House.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
The dinner was really, really good.
Yeah, it was fantastic actually, and she's really lovely as well. I really like her. The other thing about that show was that it was a collaborative thing. So for people who aren't aware, The Incredible Here and Now was actually a book written by Felicity. I always mess up her last name.
I'm
Felicity
terrible with names.
Castagna,
It's something with this,
Castagna.
like, as my skills, I want to focus on his names.
Yeah,
I'm so bad at
And it's such a simple thing.
It
that, like,
is.
you just like, how do you say it?
It's so important as well.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Someone's name.
Yeah. I'm just bad
I
with
do
them.
it all the time.
Yeah. But Felicity Castagna wrote the book, and then she, as gracefully as she was, as she did, said was like very open to a collaborative experience where for 6 weeks, I can't remember, 6 weeks I think, we took the book, wrote the play.
Yeah.
So like I like that I can say this actually. We took her book. We all read it and stuff and kind of and figured out the relationships with the characters and how they relate to each other, the story, how the story relates to the characters, how that would work theatrically, like all this kind of stuff. And then we turned the book into a play.
That's cool.
The Incredible Here and Now, the play. And then so then when we performed it, it was the world premiere.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But now that book has gone in. This is the part that I kind of like, I'm like, oh, fuck, this meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
That book has now gone into circulation. So the play has gone into circulation.
Oh, okay.
So if you were to find the play, I've got it at home. I'm fairly certain you would see on the front page the original cast, and my name would be there.
That's special.
Which is really special, right? Like when I used to, like at school and stuff, and we did like, like all these plays, the Laramie Project, and all these plays that we read, and then you flip open to Don's Party or the Removalists. Like when you flip it open and you read the original cast, you go, man, how great for them. That not like, look at me, I'm commercial, not like that.
No,
just in the sense of fuck.
Yeah.
They were a part of this.
And
they created
I remember
this.
doing that a lot, and you'd recognize someone's name. You're like, oh
Yeah.
my god, they were in like the first production of this.
Oh my god, Paul Rudd was in this.
Yeah.
Like, the shape of
It's
things
like,
or whatever. Like
when Prima Facie debuted at Griffin, you know, and obviously it wasn't Jodie Comer.
Sure.
So whenever anyone reads that place, it's taken off now. They'll see, the actress's name in there.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
like, oh my
special.
god, he did that. Yeah, it's just really cool.
What was it? We picked up a play off of our bookshelves. We have like 6 bookshelves at our house, and we just picked one off, and we had a look, and Lex's name was in it, who was in an episode. He was one of our tutors, the one that was in Kingswood Country, and he was like in the original cast of, I think it was a David Williams play.
Oh, wow.
Even something like that, and I was like, oh
We were
my
like,
god.
he was in it. Oh, what the
Williams.
hell? And then we found out after we had done the interview with him. So we're like, I would have been cool to
Yeah,
look that up.
yeah. It's always hard. You don't know
It's
everything,
amazing.
do you?
Yeah, but that was that play was probably the most important thing. Like, not the most important thing, the most kind of like struck me in a different way.
Okay.
But then the Super Walk video you were talking about, it was literally 4 seconds or something that I was in it for. But I can say without a shadow of a doubt, that meant a lot to me because I've been watching their videos for years, and I was like, and it wasn't just like, oh, they're so funny, and the angry dad, and he's like, what are you doing? And then he runs after the kid. It wasn't like that was funny and stuff, and you appreciate it. But it was more a thing of like, fuck, look at these kids go, man. They're wogs like me, and look what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
They're
this is
also
for
Egyptian.
and they're also Egyptian.
Right,
So
okay.
I'm in my head, I'm like, well, man, look at them go. I can do it too.
Yeah. That's
And
special.
every other act, this is what I loved. And what kind of struck me in a similar sense to The Incredible Here and Now, every actor on that set was ethnic in some way.
Right.
And I was
okay.
like, fuck yeah, man. Even the
Yeah.
guy, the AD that was texting me to organize
cool.
the shoot. The production company was like, I think ABC kind of threw something at them a little bit to kind of like help them do it because they'd had their series premiering already on
Yeah.
ABC.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was just a thing of like, man, look at these guys. 2 WOG kids. I'm a WOG. All the other actors, WOGs. The guy who
Yeah.
helped organize the shoot, what? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that
That's
word is
special.
like maybe an offensive word to people, but let's fucking take ownership of that because it just meant something to me. I was like, shit, man. I didn't feel alone on that set.
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of like
That's
in the
special.
same thing as me, and I was like, this is special, man. Like, this really, I hold that really close to myself. you
Yeah.
know?
And it's also the one role everyone remembers Ryan from.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
No way.
Everyone that, like, people I have not spoken to
Yeah.
in years will be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I saw Ryan on Superwalk.
No
And I'm
way.
like, out of all the things he's done, really? And
You
it's
saw him on that.
and then
Yeah.
people would like, because like something was happening on TikTok because he's a tradie, and
Yeah.
so people will make tradie jokes.
Yeah.
And it went on TikTok, so I just tagged Ryan.
Love it.
And then everyone's like liking it. Like, oh my God, it's him. And I'm like,
Dude, when I tell you in however many years' time, if I get there, if I'm a multi-award
Yeah.
nominated or a winning actor or whatever,
They're gonna
and I go on
know.
the Graham Norton show,
Yeah.
Graham Norton will be like, so Ryan, back when you were a young boy, you did Superwalk. And I'll be like, yeah, I did.
you.
You, that was you.
You were on
You
Superwalk.
did that. And you. Like, whatever happens, like, it's going to follow me everywhere.
Yeah.
But, like, I love that shit, man.
And you just
like,
pretend like you don't know. Like, I know the story you're talking about.
Yeah.
So anyway.
sorry, what was that? Superwalk. Oh,
Yeah, I know the story.
yeah.
100%. But everyone always says, because like the line that Superwalk says to Ryan is Toyota Hilux.
Yeah,
So
Toyota
every
Hilux.
time people see Ryan, they're like,
You're like,
Toyota Hilux.
And I'm like, here's a Toyota Hilux, baby. And then like, you know what I mean?
So I'm like, do we need to get one? We need
Yeah,
a
yeah,
sponsor.
That's great.
From
Toyota Hilux sponsor us and sponsor this podcast and our podcast.
Yeah,
please.
yeah, yeah.
That'd be really
Yes.
cool.
Toyota Hilux.
Toyota-
That's
yeah.
it.
What a tradie needs.
Yep. My dad's a carpenter.
for-
He's driven a Toyota Hilux sometime in his life.
Heard it here first.
Sponsor us.
There you go.
Well, I want to ask you the question I've been asking a lot of the guests on the podcast. I kind of just forgot it was my episode for a second. Then I thought it was just yours. Sorry.
Just catching up. Like
No, I loved it. I was like, yeah. I want to know how you think the theatre industry has changed over the years and how those changes have impacted the work that you do and the work that you take part in.
So there is a lot of changes, of course, in theatre. I feel like there's good and bad that has changed. I might get a bit deep here, but there's more fear when it comes to putting on a production.
Oh,
So
I've
I
never
feel-
heard someone say it like that. Yeah.
But not so much from a performer's perspective. But from, I know a lot of business perspectives are too scared to offend. So they are, sometimes, I mean, the good ones will look at, is it diverse enough? Is it going to speak to the right audience? Is it going to be inclusive? And are people going to feel seen? Because of the rise of the Me Too movement and everything else that happened, people do fear unnecessary nudity, which I'm a big fan of not having on, because by all means, if you want to, you can, but no one should feel pressured.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I feel like a lot of this change is more so in independent theatre. And that's all the best shows, because they are doing it for the right reasons, and they're doing it because yes, they're putting it on for themselves, but they're putting it on for other people. And so they want to speak for those people. So there is that fear of cancel culture. I know that's a dirty word for some people, but it works.
Yeah.
It does work,
Yeah, I
because it
getcha.
makes people think harder
Yeah.
on what they're going to put on. So there is that change in the sense that we are starting to see the rise of, so I was, you know, I when I started acting, I did a lot of Shakespeare and I loved gender bending.
Yeah.
And I don't believe necessarily there is need for, unless it's absolutely necessary for like gender or sexuality in theatre, I think it can be very free and diverse. So I feel like there is more of that happening now, and there is more conversations about it happening now. And again, there are starting to be more ethnic people, more people of color. I know for me, because I look the way I look, people don't realize I am Italian.
Okay, right, yeah.
So sometimes I won't get put on as many roles.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily mad about that
Yeah,
because
right.
I love watching things more than, I hate to say it, more than I love doing it.
Okay.
I love watching people. I
Yeah.
love supporting other people. And so there will be a lot more castings where sometimes I'll go in, they loved my performance, but then their production team will be like, oh, we're going to go a different
Yeah,
direction
I
because
getcha.
they feel like they should have someone more diverse or
Right.
something like that, which it's understandable.
Yeah.
So again, it comes into that fear of cancel culture, but for the right reasons.
I saw a production recently, and it's just kind of jumping off yours. I'm not going to name it, but it was the first time where I sat there and I went, why this story? You know, it wasn't bad or like anything. I was just like, really? Like, why this one? Why is this the one you've chosen to put on? You know, it's not new. And like when the ending came, I was like, saw that coming.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's the first time I kind of had that sort of question. I was like, out of all the ones you could have thought about putting on, why'd you choose this one for?
Yeah, right.
So it was just something you kind of realize that I've seen so much brand new stuff and diverse stuff as well that it was the first time something like that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Whereas
Sure.
probably 5 years ago I would have just been like, yep,
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Good job, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's all we knew back then. And
Yeah.
there are some larger companies that do get given more of the funding that I feel like don't have enough of that fear and they
Right.
don't think too much into it and what they're producing. And that's why I just always prefer to go see independent theatre more and independent films a lot lately as well. But so I feel like that's what's really changed about it. But hopefully it stays that positive
Yeah.
further for many, many years to come.
Yeah.
That was very.
Yeah. I like that.
Thank you.
Watch me sound like a fucking Neanderthal.
Yeah. Follow that one up.
yeah. I think it's it's a lot of that. I think it goes back to what I was. Oh, I did want to say something too. The question you asked about plays that kind of like struck a chord or something that was really important to you.
Yeah.
I wanted to, because I forgot to say this. That my mate who was in the lead role in that show, who him and I got really close and kind of caught up for like beers and stuff and hung out, and I actually genuinely hold him very close to my heart too. Probably like 2 or 3 years after that show like finished and we were kind of off doing whatever, he was in a motorbike accident and he passed away, and it was it was weird. Coping with that was weird.
Yeah.
As far as far as deaths go, it's just you can't really fucking cope with it. But that was like a weird experience because it wasn't just like that. We were like, hey man, how you doing? Yeah, cool, fist bump. We'll meet up in a sec or whatever. It was like 6 weeks of an intensive, and because of the relationship we had in the show as well, I feel that him and I had formed a really close bond because me naturally, I'm a little bit shy, but you wouldn't know it to look at me. But if I know you, I really come out of my shell kind of thing. That's kind of just how I'm geared, I guess.
Okay.
And with him, he was dealing with some pretty heavy shit in that play.
Yeah.
And I like to have a lot of fun. I don't know what that is, what that says about me, but I like to have a lot of fun. And I think him and I bonded really quick over that because I think it was a bit of an escape that while he was gearing himself up for this traumatic shit in this play, that I was his best mate in the play. And then we became very, very close in real life because it was a thing of like, his escape from that was, hey, let's go get lunch or something. I just need to kind of gear out of this headspace a bit. And we're like, yeah, sure. And then we were talking about shit or funny things that happened or like, oh my God, did you see this movie? Oh my God, they were actually, inspired by this. And it was very fun because we had that kind of relationship that we could rely on each other, that we would, at least he could rely on me, that for the course of that show, if there was heavy shit and he was like, I just don't know what to do, we would... he could rely on me that I would be able to pull him out of that a little bit and give him something a little bit more positive during the course of this kind of heavy shit that he was going through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he has he had his own theatre company. He still has it, I guess, because it's in his name. But it's called Last One Standing, or Last Man Standing.
Last one.
Last one. Fuck, why am I forgetting this? Last One Standing.
Yes.
Last One Standing Theatre Company.
Yeah.
Sorry, Last One Standing Theatre Company. I don't know why I forgot that. And his girlfriend has recently taken over that.
Oh, okay.
And they're doing like theatre stuff, and she's moving it towards like film and television stuff as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The only reason I bring that up is because like a few weeks ago I got a follow from that company with a message, and it was just her saying, "Hey, you guys are all being followed by this, this company because you're all fans of, I'm not going to say his name, but you're all fans of my boyfriend." And
oh, that's nice.
And it was really nice. So then that took me back, and then I was like, "Oh shit!" And then it was kind of, So that was the other aspect, of that question that you asked, why that was so important to me, because it was my first real like, oh man, I'm so excited, like, with this guy in my life, he's very, very cool, I really like him, and then it was like that love and loss and let go, hold on tightly but let go lightly kind of thing, because it's hard, especially when something like this happens.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, that's why I hold it so close to my heart. But then the question that you asked just then, that Kat answered like a pro.
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, I was like, something that I kind of fell in love with. I still kind of am in love with it now, is theatre that's very bare bones theatre.
Okay.
Like if you were to go into a theatre in the round and there's a couple milk crates, and the way they do the set is they throw
around.
Yeah, right. And then they like, instead of having a table like this, because there's a scene where they're having dinner, they throw a fucking like a white cloth or a white blanket and stuff, or over a milk crate that they stack.
Oh, yeah.
But then they incorporate that in their movement, kind of like, no, I told you no. Bang.
Yeah,
and then someone does
Yeah.
that, and then you go, so what happened? And then you just make this beautiful transition into a different scene where you're having dinner on a milk crate.
Yeah.
And someone goes, so tell me about it. And maybe the dinner in in that theater, in the play, was like chicken and potatoes or something. But they just open a can of peaches and go, come on, so what happened? And then they do that.
Yeah.
And then you're just sitting, and then they're sitting there eating fucking canned peaches or something. But it works because it's a stylized way of being very, what's the word?
Minimalist?
Minimalist,
Yeah.
thank you. It's a stylized way of being very minimalist, where you rely on yourselves
I like that.
and your own movement. I find that really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I fell in love with that when I was younger. I still am in love with that. And I like that we're embracing that a bit more.
Yeah.
And
I think you got to trust audiences.
Yeah.
That's
like
right.
audiences aren't dumb.
Yeah.
One of the best things a director said to me when I was like 18, because I wanted to do directing, he said you got to trust audiences.
Yeah.
Like if you do that,
Yeah.
they're going to go, oh, it's a table. It's fine. It's only people that don't ever come to theatre that have been dragged along will go, where am I? What am I doing? What's that? Why am I shit on the ground?
crate.
They're having
It's
a
like-
picnic?
Yeah.
So you got to trust audiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like that. Obviously, all the other stuff that I've said. But yeah, that's important.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
They were all amazing answers. Thank you so much for that. Did you want to do the 1 minute theatre thoughts to wrap up? It's my little segment at the end of all my podcast episodes.
Of course.
Yeah,
I
well,
want
then
the
we have to do
specialty.
it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
ready
God,
for the
okay.
chef special.
Okay. The chef special. I love that. I'm going to call that. Okay. Here we go. What has been your favourite production you've seen recently?
100% What She Said by Josephine Gazard over at Cake State in the Vault.
You were saying that before, yeah.
Best.
I was also going to say that, but I won't say that now. I will say, the Italians.
Oh, I love the Italians.
Loved it.
Loved
That was
it.
great.
Yes.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh. What's the Miley Cyrus's song?
Party in the USA?
No.
No?
I
Oh,
wish
that's
I
a
was
good
that fun.
choice,
The
though.
Midnight Sun. Is it? Yeah. The midnight. No, I'm not going to sing that.
I don't know. What's the song? I don't know.
Swear.
What song.
Wait.
Have we heard it before?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Obviously, I've heard it before.
Shows a lot about me that I went straight to party in the USA.
Yeah. The USA is a good song.
Oh, but All That Jazz as well from Chicago.
Yeah,
That's my go-to.
Sure. Any song by Ed Sheeran, but I feel like You Need Me is a really good song by him. He's got like some great things in there, and then he raps a bit. It's really
Cool. Yeah. What role haven't you played yet that you'd still want to?
Haven't played yet. That's a good question. Before my youth is over, I'd love to play a teenager once again.
Hey, cool kids.
It's me.
That's
fellow
such an actor thing to say. Hold on
Backwards
to your
cap.
youth.
Yes.
Hello, fellow kids and teens.
Last one I did was Juliet, and then I just knew that was going to be the last one, and I was like, no, please, I'm begging you.
You're heading into Lady Capulet territory.
Yes, I am. Gonna be the nurse real soon.
I love it.
I would like to play Macbeth.
Oh, I love
I would really like to play Macbeth.
Yeah.
But then I won't. No, I have two answers. Okay, I've got Macbeth.
Yep.
But then Coriolanus was someone that I played when I was in I was in college, and it was great. I would love to play the opposite of Phidias.
Oh.
Because he's like a war general. We did like a whole thing for it. It was fucking great, but I'd love to do that.
My dream role is Hamlet.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
My
love to play
favourite.
Hamlet. I love it.
Hamlet would be terrific.
Which production would you most want to see come to Australia?
Most of them have come for me.
I was thinking about it just the other day. Oh my goodness. Can it be something I've seen before or something no?
Oh, I mean, if you want.
Look, if you're going to bend the rules.
Well, you do whatever you want. Someone the other day said The Lion King.
No, you know what? I would love to see the play that goes wrong.
Yeah, bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back.
Need it. Otherwise, I'm a sucker for Phantom of the Opera, and I know it just came and left, but the sequel, Love Never Dies.
Okay.
I did like it. I know a lot of
Interesting.
people again, it's that fan fiction thing.
Yeah.
But I love fan fiction. So
Cool.
I'm like, bring that back. I loved it. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting one.
Beetlejuice.
Yes.
I really want Beetlejuice to come to
Yes.
Australia. Please make that happen, whoever's going to be listening to this.
Excellent. And the last question I wanted to ask was, who would be your dream podcast guest?
Oh.
Yeah, who would be your dream guest for the podcast?
Joe Rogan.
Well,
Really?
actually,
No, you know what? No. I don't know why I said that.
Go on.
Joe Rogan, you're still good, though. It's not an indictment on you as a person.
Oh, you know what? Okay, so I'm a sucker for British shows and British sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
So
So what are you going to say?
cast
Do you
of-
think what I'm going to say?
I don't
Or
know.
just one?
I like anyone from either. What are you gonna? You're gonna say what I'm
I
gonna
thought
say?
you were going to say...
The Cast of Red Dwarf.
Yeah, the
Anyone
Cast of Red
from
Dwarf.
there or Doctor Who?
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what
that's what I
I
thought
also
you were
was
gonna
going to
say.
say that.
Yeah. anyone.
I thought you were going to say like David Tennant.
He's my celebrity.
I love him.
But also
He's so good.
anyone from Red Dwarf because I'm a sucker for them at the moment.
Yeah.
So particularly Craig Charles is
He's great.
doing his thing for me right now. So I would absolutely love that because he does a lot of funk and soul music. So that's like...
Actually, yeah.
and he's a slam
brilliant
poet.
musician.
Really? Wow.
And he's very good. But otherwise David Tennant, I wouldn't know what to say. I'd
No,
pass
neither
out
would
on
I.
the floor.
Yeah.
My first answer would have been Sean from Short Stack because that was my everything when I was a
Okay.
teenager. But then he was on the show for 15 minutes and I cried for 45.
Oh my God.
I was like, it was the best ever. That was like my ultimate. I could have died happy that day and I would have been like, my time has come.
Actually, you know
that's
what? Technically, what she can claim is that she helped to jumpstart his musical career again.
No.
No, hold on.
that.
She's not saying this. I am, and I'll tell you why. Because
Yeah.
he came on the podcast.
Yeah.
He then very soon after, like I would say probably like less than a year, announced a tour. COVID was the only thing that stopped it. Announced a tour across all of Australia.
Yeah.
And we went and saw him at the Metro.
There you go.
It was
I
great.
brought back Short Stack. You're welcome.
Welcome, millennial emos and punk heads.
That's right.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for that. And again, thank you so much for having me in your studio
Oh, good.
to record the episode. That was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Oh, good.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much for
Thank
having us on
you.
yours as well. Thank you.
This is a dream come true.
Yes.
massive thank you to Ryan and Caterina for joining us on our collaborative episode of the Theatre Thoughts podcast. You can listen to Tragic Thespians now wherever you get your podcasts and follow Caterina and Ryan by going to their Instagram at Tragic Thespians. We'll be back at Meraki Arts Bar on Tuesday the 11th of July to talk with the team at Queen Hades Productions and their performance of Tough Titties. Follow the link in our episode's description to book your tickets. This episode was produced by Echidna Audio. Follow them on Instagram at Echidna Audio for all their audio services. Once again, if you enjoyed our podcast, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts and head to the link in this episode's description for our Instagram account, TikTok, YouTube, and Patreon. My name's Justin Clark, and I'll see you next time here on the Theatre Thoughts podcast.
Have you ever wondered how your favorite performer actually feels? Well, here's your chance. Welcome to The Quiet Part Out Loud with me, Bobby Steggert, Broadway actor and now a therapist to a whole host of Broadway creatives. Part interview, part therapy, this is not your typical podcast. We'll go right to the heart of things with some of your favorite artists, what they still struggle with, what lessons they've learned, what they haven't figured out yet. There's enormous power in saying the quiet part out loud. Are you listening?
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.